poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
The co-hostiest with the mostiest, Jazzy J.
You're getting better at your like little intros.
Jazzy J. Okay. Oh, everyone calm down.
Maui, Maui, Maui. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, my special guest though, who I really honestly, I appreciate you coming in. This is our 58th episode, and you've been more than willing to come on for every single episode so far. Truly generous that you're willing to take so much time out of your busy life to be here.
Episode 58. Man, we're coming up on 60, Ben.
We're coming up on 60.
Almost time to retire. Almost time to retire.
Hang up the old headphones.
We don't even wear it. This is the thing. Whenever I watch people like streaming or I watch anyone else podcasting, they have headphones on. And when I stream or when we podcast, no headphones. I'm like, are we doing something wrong? Or are they doing, like, what am I missing here? Right. Why are you in headphones? Why am I able to get away with it and you're not? Or am I committing serious foul?
Well, okay, it's so funny because I think one of the very first podcasts that I was ever on where I didn't have somebody helping me like set up all of our space. Like one of the really, really fantastic things about running like Super Carlin Brothers as a business is that we have people in office who are much more technologically savvy than me. And including you.
I didn't mean the letter I meant AYE. Like,
no.
Agreement.
I know. I meant though, including you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I understood what you meant. I didn't think you were being like me. Yes, that is my responsibility.
It is me
to guide you through the woes of how to set up a printer.
No, I can't do that.
No one can do it.
No one can do it.
It is mind blowing to me that there is not like Apple hasn't made a printer yet. I don't even know if it would be Apple, but like a company hasn't made the printer. Like,
yeah. Where's that Kickstarter?
Right.
Someone's just like, here, great Kickstarter idea for anyone, just called all lowercase letters, the printer that works.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what? And like, that's it. Just make it full of ink, make it work. Here's the problem. Most printers, they want to put in like 1,000 extra features and like scanner and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, all I want is to plug a USB cable into the back of my computer and for the computer to go, would you like me to print to that? And me to say yes. And that's it.
Yes.
And don't make it so that if you're out of yellow ink, I can't print in black. Make the ink cartridges very full of ink so that running out almost never happens.
Also, what's with all the updates? Like, I have a printer at home that not to pat myself on the back too aggressively here. It works.
Well, good for you.
I know.
Okay.
Everybody is like,
pretty okay. Well,
people on the edge of their seats.
People just switched to Jazzy J.
Right. Well, I don't know. But it's like one of these things where my computer constantly is like, your Epson 870X needs an update again, and I'm like, how it does no. It seems like the most rudimentary, basic command known to computers.
Do not need printer with software.
Right. Yeah, should just be so easy.
Right.
So easy. We had a printer in 1995 and it worked. Like nothing has changed.
I know. Like this is exactly when we were kids, we got a printer and a game I would play was just like typing things into Microsoft Word so I could print them.
Yeah.
We had this like CD-ROM called Print Shop Deluxe, and you could just like make greeting cards and banners and like,
oh my gosh,
the worst clip art things ever. But for me as kid, it was like, I'm gonna make stuff and print it. And like I would do this for hours, and you could like, I knew Print Shop Deluxe in and out.
Like, I feel like we made an alarming number of calendars.
You want to make a calendar? No problem. It's easy.
Yeah.
You want to make a banner of a dragon that's 5 pages long? What, 12 pages? No problem.
Where's the tape, Mom?
Yeah.
I need tape and scissors.
Exactly. I need to tape this dragon together. I need to make a big old banner. And it doesn't need to say anything. Is it going to be 12 pages of green ink? Yes. Are we going to run out? No.
Right. Somehow.
Because let me tell you, I've never used as much ink as when I was a kid just printing stuff for the fun of it, for the pure joy of having put an idea into the computer and created a real thing.
Right.
You know?
Yes. It's it was like having like a modern day 3D printer now.
Yes.
Is like, it's like I could like print, like a Mandalorian helmet. Like how cool is that?
Right. That's exactly the sort of thing though. It might be like, look, I found a picture of a Mandalorian helmet and I put it on this Word document and then I printed it out. Can you believe it?
I taped it to my wall.
I did, yeah. These were the joys of being a child in the 90s.
Yes.
And those joys are gone because printers don't work anymore.
Because they don't work.
The fact that people own, this is why things are going digital, right? It's not because paper was messy and cumbersome. It's because somehow we lost the ability to put words on paper with a printer.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I can't figure this out. What if I just send an email?
I wonder if there's anyone out there who just understands their printer, or it's been just working so consistently for so long, for so well. That doesn't seem like the right grammar, pronunciation, word usage.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who like is not relating to this topic though. They're like, my printer always works.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it doesn't. It can't.
It couldn't.
Did you update it? Is that what we're doing wrong?
I feel like the last time I had a genuine printer that worked, it was when I was a freshman in college, and it was exactly what I described earlier. It was just there was a USB cable that connected the printer to my laptop, and I would hit print and it would print. And that was, but basically I've come to the conclusion that when you buy a new printer, that print, even if it's that basic, even if you find one that works, it will only work through the first cycle of ink you have in it. And once you're out of ink the first time, that whole printer has become garbage.
Total system failure.
Yeah.
Yep. No, absolutely. So anyway, though, we hopped on to printers because I was talking about my lack of maybe tech savviness, which even is a strange thing because I feel like your level of tech savvy is so dependent on the other people that are around you, right? Like like at home, I am like the tech savvy person.
Right.
So like if there's like a reason that like this is like such low hanging fruit, the Apple TV isn't working, it's like my responsibility to fix it.
Right.
You know, but like here at the office, I feel like I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. So it's like if something technical goes wrong, like nobody would ever ask me. Like I would not be the person to go to.
Right. It's so weird.
Right. For like a technical problem. So it's really funny how you can like not be the tech person in some circles and then be like the tech guru in others. So I don't know. I personally think that's hilarious. But anyway, so I was recording a podcast because we're talking about headphones, like why some people wear them and some people don't. And we were doing it with actually Ethan, who edits this podcast for us. He has a podcast with our little brother called Bacon and Eggs, where they do like movie reviews every week. And I remember, I think it was when Tyler got married, I was gonna do like a guest appearance to cover the last
honeymoon or something.
Yeah, it was to cover while they were on their honeymoon, and I think we were talking about The Last Jedi. And so if you want to go and check out my original thoughts on The Last Jedi when they were super fresh, I think I came out of it like super, super positive. It's a very glowing review at that point in time. It's weird also how things like that like shift.
Isn't it? There's been such a weird shift in the Star Wars view of the 9 movies at the moment.
Yeah.
Where for so long, for almost as long as I can remember, the prequel trilogy was just like the butt of every joke.
It was.
Like there was no redeeming qualities. Everyone just agreed Jar Jar was the worst, and the Anakin's acting was so bad, and the plot lines, this guy hired this guy to hire this guy to kill that person, and they, like
it was like super heavy politics. Yeah. Like, nobody could really follow
fraud. But all of a sudden, within like the last year, like public perception has taken a ginormous shift, and it seems like the prequels are like, we love the prequels. You want more Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan? Bring us a show.
Right,
they are beloved memories now.
Stab me right in my nostalgia, why don't you?
I know, it is crazy to me like how public perception has shifted like on a dime. And it's like, maybe it's because of the sequels all of a sudden, the sequel trilogy, but even those people are just like, I love all 9. I love all 9.
Right.
These are my favorites. All 9 are good.
Well, the Star Wars fandom, and this is not a hot take. This is just, I feel like everybody knows this about Star Wars, is that like nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Oh yeah, no one hates Star Wars like people who love Star Wars.
And I almost wonder if like maybe what's slowly happening is that like everybody's starting to like realize that they've become such like a dangerous group to be a part of, because like almost any even like gentle opinion that you have about Star Wars could almost like start like a fight. Like people like so quickly, they're so passionate about their like specific stance on it that if you get going on anything, it's like, oh man, I have stepped into the ring.
You have stepped right into it.
Yeah.
This is the way of the. This is the way. Didn't even mean to. This is the way. That is definitely the way of the Star Wars fandom, though, where it is just. I feel like maybe it's calming down a little bit. I feel like The Mandalorian has done leaps and bounds to like smooth over a lot of the rough edges. Everyone's like, oh, hey, man, we really like this. This is good. We can all agree on this.
Yeah, and there may be a lot of that. Like, I think it's sort of almost even dialing into that idea of like what people liked about Star Wars is that it was like supposed to be this like space western, and things were supposed to be, I don't know, like clunky, and I don't know, like there's like a charm to it. It's hard to describe.
Do you feel like when you watch? So I feel like that I agree with what you're saying. Like the Millennium Falcon, when you're first introduced to it, is supposed to be this sort of like clunker ship that like manages to be great. But I feel like the longer Star Wars has been around, the Millennium Falcon seems to have like ascended itself into like not only the best ship that ever existed, but like the most well constructed. It's like wasn't the joy of it the clunkeriness of it?
Right, like the fact that it like everybody is always, I don't know, I don't even know, because it seems like even when they reintroduced the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens, they still call it like a
like a piece of junk.
Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't behave like a piece of junk in any way.
It doesn't. Not even a little bit. I mean, like in a full gravity situation, Rey's got that thing like flipping and diving
in full. What a great way to phrase it. In full gravity, the ship that's been dormant for years. Is like flipping and jumping. I mean, granted, the guns do get locked in position.
They do get locked in position.
Part of it, but.
One of my like favorite all-time moments, and this is like, again, I'm not intending for this to be a hot take. I'm just sure that someone will disagree with me like vehemently. Is the moment where the gun gets locked into place, Rey like throws the thruster forward or whatever that handle is, and like the ship like literally like starts to like fall forward and goes upside down, and then Finn can shoot.
Yeah.
Because he's like repositioned, and then she like rips it back forward or whatever, and it like springs back to life. They're able to leave. I don't know. I love it.
Oh, I agree. It's like, oh, you can't aim the gun. Don't worry. I'll aim the whole ship.
The whole ship. Yes.
The whole ship right at it.
Perfectly. It's like amazing. Amazing. The point is, though, is that I remember when I was doing this fill-in on the Bacon and Eggs podcast for Tyler, our younger brother, I did not wear headphones, and I was recording from my home office because we were doing it like after hours instead of like our office proper, which has like, you know, soundproofing and like microphones and the whole 9 yards. And so I'm like sitting in this like completely empty room at my house. So it's like literally a desk with a computer and like a Yeti microphone. And I remember I did not wear headphones. And so like my voice was just like echoing throughout the room. I have like not actually gone back and like listened to how bad it sounded, but Ethan, who had to edit that episode, was like, yeah, I wish I had asked if you were wearing headphones, because I had to like go through and like cut out like every single echo of like, I guess maybe his voice coming through on my microphone as we're talking.
That's the answer, is that you're wearing headphones because often, like if you're streaming, you don't want the game, the volume from the video game coming through the microphone as well as through the speakers, because then it's going to be doubling up. Or if you're recording a podcast with someone who's not sitting in the same room as you, you don't want their voice through the computer coming into your microphone and creating an echo.
Right. Yeah. Problems you've probably never thought of if you've never recorded a podcast before.
Right. So these are the reasons why. But even like when I'm streaming, I still find myself not wearing headphones, and I'm like, it turns out the volume. Maybe I just don't have the volume high enough for it to catch. But no one's ever called me on it. So whatever. Right.
It's so funny though, because we're like currently sitting on what is becoming the more fleshed out version of what will be the video version of popcorn culture. So in the near future, you will actually be able to like watch us have the conversation.
That's right.
Because how much better will that be?
How much better will it be? You'll be able to look. Last week, this was so fun. We actually spent time building the popcorn culture set a little bit, which was a bit of an ordeal because it was weird. I feel like how it came about, because since we moved into the office, we've got just stuff everywhere. Cardboard boxes abound, as you do when you're moving. And we were like, okay. Let's put stuff away. Let's try and get to cardboard zero.
Cardboard
which
zero.
is the state to be in. You want zero. I want no cardboard boxes visible throughout the office. This is my goal. We're not even close.
We're not. I can at least see 4, 5
Within
cardboard
sight.
boxes from where I'm sitting currently.
That said, we took many a cardboard box. We broke them down. We took them to the recycling last week.
We did.
We made progress.
Astounding progress.
But the big initial hurdle we had to make was we had these 2 rugs from the old office, and they were just sitting right in the middle of everything.
Right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle.
So
and
like you have to like step over these rolled up rugs to like get your coffee.
Yes.
To go to the fridge.
Yeah, and you're like, why don't you just put them against? It's like, no, there's nowhere else they can exist.
Right.
Because they're so big, and there's 2 of them, and they're right in the middle. So it's like, okay, before we can do it, we have to get these rugs down, which means we have to figure out where they're going to go. And because they're the very bottom thing of everything, it means the room we're in right now had plenty of cardboard in it. You can bet. It was like, well, the rugs are going in here. So now we have to move literally everything out.
Yep.
And then once the rug was down, it was like, well, there's no reason to put more crap back on it. Let's just put the popcorn culture chairs there. And it was like, all of a sudden, the act of cleaning up meant, well, we may as well just build the set.
We may as well just do it. While we're here.
While we're here.
Yeah. So it all started coming together, which is now amazing because like we're like sitting in like the space and it's like starting to feel like real.
It feels so real, and the sign looks so good. Oh, I'm so excited for the video portion of the pop.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm very curious to see if there are people who are gonna be that much more eager or interested to tune in that way.
Yeah, to see your crazy fashion choices.
My crazy fashion choices.
Maybe they can glimpse like Fred, the one true cup.
Maybe they could.
Yeah.
The one and only.
But should we have a bit of a cup date?
Well,
because I feel like we used to talk about your one true cup life.
My one cup life?
Your one cup life. And maybe we never really checked back in.
Well, I know. It's true. We haven't. Although, interestingly, Alice and I were having a conversation about One Cup Life literally just yesterday, which I thought was interesting because it had also not come up super like aggressively in my life since then. So the answer to the question would be that currently I'm not engaged in One Cup Life.
Okay.
Although the appeal is once again washing over me.
I see.
So there's been this, like, we bring it up. Actually, Ethan even messaged me a couple weeks ago where we talk about Name of the Wind, the book series that we've been reading.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, he sent me a message a couple weeks ago and he was like, LOL, you're reading Name of the Wind? And I was like, yeah, it's amazing. And he's like, dude, you talk about it every single week. Like, I know that you're reading Name of the Wind. And, but there's this thing about the main character Quoth in that he, like, can always be carrying all of his possessions. Like, everything he owns throughout the entire series so far, he can carry at once.
Basically.
I always, like, that's like one of these things where I'm like, oh man, like when you think about it through that lens, that like anything that you're going to have with you has to be like useful enough, practical enough that like it's like one of the few objects that you are in fact keeping with you at all times. Like it's like essential personnel, you know? And that is like where there's outstanding appeal for this one cup. It's like you really have to like think it through. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
So I do have my Fred, which is what I named.
Yeah.
My one cup.
Your one cup. For those of you who maybe need a refresher, Ben's ambition to be a one cup life man involved abandoning all other drinkware.
All other drinkware.
And he would choose the perfect cup that he would use for all drinking situations at all times.
I can't even tell you how excited I am for the scratches that Fred will obtain through all of his wonderful adventures in life. Because like everywhere I go, it's going to be put into a variety of cup holders. You know, it's going to be dropped inevitably because I'm clumsy. Yeah, dings. But each one of those little scratches tells a story.
Yeah.
And it's like when people see it, they're like, wow, that's a really beat up cup. And it's like, thanks. It's like the mark of glory.
Yeah.
You know, with your cup. It's almost like stickers on a snowboard. Like whenever I was like snowboarding in college, you'd be like in the lift line. And if the person in front of you had like stickers all over their snowboard, you were like, wow, they must be good. Like, I have no stickers on mine.
Yeah.
That goes to show how bad I am.
Do you know, okay, so when we, once upon a time, got electronic skateboards, boosted boards, This was in 2 offices ago now.
Yeah, I know. How unbelievable is that?
How unbelievable. The thing I miss most about not having an office in downtown Roanoke is that we used to be able to ride the boosted boards to downtown Roanoke so that we could get lunch or whatever. And now that we're here, it would be way more hassle to carry the skateboard down the stairs and ride it literally anywhere because we're just within walking distance of pretty much everything now.
Right. We also have Lime scooters in Roanoke now, which was not the case then.
Roanoke solved a lot of the issues that might have surrounded this particular problem, but I enjoyed it so much. But we got them, and I remember we just ordered a big old like package of stickers.
Yeah.
For the sole purpose of like decking out your helmet per se in stickers for the exact effect.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, it was like this weird issue. I felt like I was having a moral dilemma with the stickers.
I know exactly where you're going with this. Yeah.
Because I was like, now to me, it feels like the stickers should accrue naturally over the course of wearing the helmet and the adventures you go on. And instead, we have just gotten all the stickers ahead of time and can put them on right now.
But we just bought like 100 stickers.
We just bought like 100 stickers. So I felt like we are like, if people go out and compliment me on the stickers on my helmet, I'm going to feel like such a cheater. Like, will I have earned any of that? But then I'm also like, if the whole point, like, who cares? Is this okay? Or what?
I think it's a fine line. I think it's a very fine line because this was something in college. I mean, I've always been like a fan of adorning my objects with stickers.
Stickers. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
You know, like I was never much of like a bumper sticker fan, but like when I discovered like the vinyl stickers, you know, like the ones that you can like, it's almost like you have to like sort of put them on and you like peel back the one thing and like what's left is like the really like brightly like vibrant sticker.
Yeah.
That's like cut out, you know, and all that.
Little die cut action.
So awesome.
Yep.
Yes. Like I remember in college, I had one of those Camelback water bottles.
Yeah.
And it was like the one with like the bite valve.
Yeah.
And the bite valve was one of these things that
the
like
bite suck technology.
The bite suck technology. Yeah. So that bite valve was something that like we grew up and our dad was like into like racing mountain bikes. It sounds maybe a bit more aggressive than maybe it was.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like the equivalent of if a family member like ran 5Ks.
Right.
Like
it wasn't like I'm competing to win mountain bike races.
Right.
It's like
right,
there's a mountain bike race this weekend. I'm going to participate in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, so instead of just going and riding in the woods leisurely, I was going and riding in the woods with like a bib on, like a number, you know?
Right.
So like someone was tracking my time. So, but anyway, part of that though was like the introduction to me as a kid of Camelback like backpacks.
Yeah.
Where you would have the little hose that would come over your shoulder and you could like drink the water from the hose and it was like just available.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that. And what I loved the most about it was the bite suck technology.
Yeah.
Like it had like that like little like thing. And so I remember in college and like the Camelback water bottles started getting like really popular and like everybody was like carrying them around. I was like, I have to get one of these.
Yeah.
I think I even like I think they cost like, I don't know, $25 or something. I remember like saving money to go buy one.
The like, Camelback water bottle?
Oh, Camelback water bottle.
It's so funny to me how a water bottle style can become so trendy.
It's true.
You know?
But
like,
they do.
They do. Like when we were in high school, the big old Nalgene's. Do you remember those?
Because they were like unbreakable.
Yeah, that's what everyone said. They're unbreakable. And people would like throw them in the air and like let them crash down onto the pavement and like they'd be scuffed up, covered in stickers, of course.
Covered in stickers and scratches. And scratches.
Scratches. They would have these ginormous wide lip like tops to drink from.
Yep.
Yeah. People would carry them around everywhere. Like had to have the big old Nalgene.
Oh, and I remember we had this guy on our cross country team who I like looked up to. I like idolized him, and it was like for like the strangest of reasons. But like he had like in high school like an eBay store. His name was Lee Bradshaw.
Oh,
and
wow, going full name.
I know, full name. Wow. That's okay. I think it's a positive shout out. Lee, if you're out there listening,
someone is gonna find him.
Someone's gonna find Lee Bradshaw and be like, the Carlins were talking about you.
Oh man.
But no, a couple things interestingly that we've already discussed. That's why I went full name drop.
Yeah.
Was one, I'm pretty sure he like bought like ink cartridges in bulk and then sold them individually on eBay, and like you would make like a $3 to $4 profit on each sale or whatever. And I remember just being like mind blown that someone like in high school had like figured out to do this. And I was like, oh, tell me everything about selling ink cartridges on eBay because I could not be more fascinated. But the other,
this guy had an idea every week. It was just like doing them.
Yes,
I think once upon a time he was going around to different people from like the senior class because he was older than both of us, and was like getting up close pictures of people's eyes and getting them like making framed pictures of up close shots of people's eyes and had like a web store.
Yeah. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like just doing like all sorts of really unique stuff all the time. But I remember one of the things he had like figured out was you had these wide mouth Nalgene bottles, which the issue is that typically if you like tip it back, especially if you're like on a bus, like on your way to like cross country practice or just school or whatever.
Yeah, you hit a bump.
You just like dump water all over your face.
Yeah.
And there was these like small plastic inserts that he had found that are pretty available now. Like if you go to like the water bottle section at like a sporting goods store or an outdoor store, they're probably just there. But it was this plastic insert that you could like literally fit right into the top of the Nalgene bottle that made it like a sip, like a sipper.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, man, Lee Bradshaw, you're so cool.
My goodness.
Like, how did you even think to solve the Nalgene sip cup problem? Like, which, I mean, obviously, he didn't invent it or anything. He just had one. But then it was like something where I was like, well, I need to track one of these things down now. Like, I need to know how to get it.
Yeah.
Which even then, we're talking about like early 2000s. Online shopping was not the same as it is today. And just even going online, I feel like mom was always concerned about like internet hackers and stuff.
Sure.
And so you couldn't just like go like use a credit card to buy something online because almost certainly you were just giving your credit card number to someone who was.
Well, that was the days of the early internet. Never use your real name. Never use your credit card to buy anything online. Ever, never. And now it's like people, before you can even finish setting up your Apple computer, it involves putting in your full name and credit card information and
right.
Yeah, this makes everything else on your computer work when you're buying stuff. It's
right.
like, oh, how far we've come.
Yes, indeed. So anyway, eventually I found one of those things, and we were like Nalgene bros.
Oh,
at that
wow!
point.
Look at that.
I know.
Man.
I wonder if he remembers that.
I'm sure he remembers the Nalgene brodom. So this is okay. Here's a weird one. Here's my Lee Bradshaw story.
Okay.
Which affects me to this day. Was flip flops.
Okay.
So
did he make flip flops cool for you?
Yes, exactly. So in my mind, like I like intrinsically thought of flip flops as like a cool wearable type of shoe.
Okay.
That you might wear to school or whatever. But for whatever reason, as is often the case with so many things in high school, it just depends on which way the wind is blowing. And for some, this was like it was like having ripped jeans or something, or like if you wore ripped jeans, either people like thought it was cool, or like, did you rip those yourself? Did you buy them that way?
Right.
Who cares?
There was such a period of time where when ripped jeans started being sold off the rack, pre-ripped, people were like livid about it.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you?
How dare you? But then other people would wear them and it'd be like, oh yeah, it doesn't look bad. Whatever.
Right.
So whatever. So flip-flops were in this category of things that were like, wow, you're wearing flip-flops? Okay.
Right.
Like it was like a thing that you could be potentially shamed for wearing. But I noticed that Lee Bradshaw was getting away with it because maybe people could tell, one of the more like popular people at school.
Yes. Which, by the way, let me back that up and say there was this interesting thing. I think he was a senior when I was a freshman. So he was older than me. He is like one of those people who the way I remember him as a senior in high school, he still looks older than I currently do now.
That's factual.
Lee Bradshaw at 18 looked older and more mature and cooler than I do now at 30.
Wow. That's probably true.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how is he, like, by the time I was 18, like, I still looked like a kid. I don't get it.
Weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway, continue with your flip-flop story.
Anyway, like it occurred to me, I was like, man, if I'm gonna make this leap, if I'm gonna put myself out on the line, I gotta make sure I have flip-flops that like look cool. And I just noticed one day, because he was someone who could get away with whatever he did, totally fine, cool.
Right.
I was like, okay. I noticed his were just like brown leather, boom. Like that's it. If you get brown leather flip-flops, you are safe no matter what.
Right.
Like you cannot go wrong with this. You could get crazy colors. You could go white. You could go blue.
You could go green and yellow.
You could go green and yellow. Did that eventually. I've branched out. I've branched out.
Of course.
My present pair of flip-flops is navy blue and it's got like tropical lining on the inside.
Look at you go.
It's so fun. I love them very much. It's too cold to wear them now. But this was like I internalized that fact once upon a time. I was like, if you just get straight brown leather flip set, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I like it's like one of those things that like I remember setting in my mind at like 16 or something. And like, if I reach, like as an adult, when I reach back and I'm like, why do I know this? And it's like, I go back to that moment, it's like, this is a weird thing that is just stuck.
Right.
Like, this is continuing to influence me today despite growth in almost every other aspect of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Somehow.
Like you had such like early like teaching that was so specific and so locked in that, you know, now for the rest of forever.
I learned the rule.
2 + 2 = 4. Brown flip-flops equals cool.
Equals safe way to wear flip-flops.
Safe way. That being said though, I personally hate flip-flops.
You don't like wear? Yeah, you're not a flop man.
I'm not a flop man at all.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of these things that is just, I don't know how people get over the initial like wear and tear on your feet, which is substantial. Like I've bought flip-flops once before.
Yeah.
You know, and same thing, brown leather. I was like, okay,
You're
like,
like,
I'm gonna do it. Maybe this is like V-necks, you know? I didn't want to wear V-necks forever.
Yeah.
Because the frat guys at the college I went to wore V-necks. And so it was like, well, I can't be like them because I don't appreciate the lifestyle that they've got over there.
Right.
And so it was like, clearly it's the V-necks that's doing it. Like that's the root. That is the root of the evil. If only someone could get the word out to fraternities that if they would stop wearing V-necks, they would.
I'd join up.
I would join in a heartbeat.
I guarantee you, they all had Camelback water bottles.
I bet they did. I bet they did. But eventually, I adopted V-necks. I bought my first one at TJ Maxx. I remember for $8, and I wore it and was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I can get away with it. So I had a similar problem with tank tops as well.
Oh.
Where it was like, for the longest time, I like couldn't wear a tank top because it was like, no.
Yeah, again, a tank top, great example of another thing that would have gone under extreme fire from like the high school male viewpoint.
Sure.
And, like, I think what finally like tipped you over the edge was rock climbing once upon a time. And it was the very notion that it's part of the aesthetic of the sport. And then it's like sort of like, okay, now that I'm doing it because I have like an associated reason, I can sort of bleed it into my real life.
That's exactly what happened.
What it is.
Yep. It was like I went from like, okay, like I'm gonna buy a rock climbing like brand specific tank top.
Yeah.
And I remember it even like came in the mail and I put it on and I was like, I like sent a picture to like 3 of like my close friends and I was like, does this make me look like a jerk or something? Like, because that was legitimately my concern.
Yeah.
Is that by wearing a tank top, people were like, I was going to look like a jerk.
Like, look at this guy.
Like,
wow.
I wouldn't even be friends with me for wearing this. Like, it was so ridiculous.
Isn't it such a weird, the moral of the story is that high school is hard.
Yes. People all the time. I feel like you're going through high school and people are like, oh, best time of your life. Just soak it in. And I'm like, I look back all my high school days and I'm like, who is giving that advice? What was your high school experience like that you were saying best time of your life? I legitimately think the best time of your life comes after college. Like,
yeah,
that's like when you have like a job.
Yeah.
You start like becoming yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like it's great.
You can wear tank tops and flip flops.
You can just go for it
whenever you want, man.
V-necks. I mean, you just do you.
Okay, Ben, in this vein, I actually put this in the show notes and we've just sort of naturally stumbled into it.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. This is, I think, the dumbest thing that I've ever felt like shame or embarrassment for, like from outside pressure, is what hand do you wear your watch on?
I wear my watch on my left hand.
You wear your watch on your left hand.
Yes.
Right. Totally fine.
But
why do you wear your watch on your left hand?
I'm right-handed. But I will say that when I was a kid growing up, I had like a watched hand like burnt into my arm from like wearing a watch for so long.
Yeah.
And I always wore it on my right hand and constantly adults would ask me, "Oh, are you left-handed?"
Right.
And I would be like, "No." And they're like, "Well, why are you wearing your watch on your right hand?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Cuz I'm right-handed." And it was like in my mind it was like the same way that I throw balls with this hand or write letters with this hand, that's the wrist I turn to check the time.
Exactly. Right. This is exactly the thing. So watch-handedness has nothing to do with other than that traditionally it is worn on your non-dominant hand.
Okay.
Right? That's the only reason you wear a watch. Like traditionally you see people wearing watches on their left hand because 90% of the population is right-handed.
Sure.
So as such, it is like I don't even know how to like phrase it. I guess you're supposed to wear your watch on your non-dominant hand.
Yes. Okay.
So
yes.
definitionally though, that means either hand is perfectly acceptable to wear your watch on.
Because you
could be left-handed.
Right. Yes.
Right.
So it's not the same thing as like a wedding band or something where it's like it's worn on your ring finger of your left hand.
Right.
Like regardless of which hand you are.
Exactly.
It's always the left hand.
It's always the left hand.
Right.
Watch-handedness has nothing to do with it's not always your left hand, and sometimes left-handed people put it on their right hand.
Right.
It is solely determined by your non-dominant hand.
Right.
And it's like so there is no correct hand to wear your watch on. The only reason is because people will say like if you're right-handed and you wear your watch on your right hand, then it's just more likely to get in your way because you use that hand for more things.
Sure.
And then I was looking this up this weekend because I remembered feeling the shame once upon a time of wearing my watch on my right hand and having people just like, what? You know you're wearing that on the wrong hand. It's like, unless I'm left-handed,
right?
In which case, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter.
Is there any shot that you would have just committed to being left-handed from that point on just to prove a point? Because that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. But no, but it's like, but there is no wrong hand to wear your watch on. It's just whatever's more comfortable. But people can shame you for wearing it on the right, your dominant hand.
Okay.
Or at least I have been shamed in that way. And I just felt like it drives me crazy. Because I was even looking, even at the website I was looking at that was describing this exact thing, like you wear it on your non-dominant hand. And it was like, now, most watches have like the crown, the part where you like would turn the dial.
Yes.
On the right-hand side. And they were like, that's a feature that is typically that way because most people are right-handed. So it is more comfortable to have that on the right-hand side. So it's not like digging into your arm, I guess. Because I guess if the crown was on the left-hand side and you wore it on your left hand, the crown could dig into your arm.
Okay, so I think I'm following what you're saying. So like you're talking like if you're looking at your left hand wrist,
yeah,
you were talking about like the bolt that sticks out that you could use to like turn and adjust the dials.
Exactly.
Okay, so I would argue that if it sticks out of the right hand side of the watch face, that is less desirable for me because then when I bend my wrist backwards, it pokes into it.
Exactly. I was like, I read it like 3 times. I was like, they must be joking. Right. But so the crown, which is the little dials on the side of your watch you can use to like adjust the time or whatever, is normally on the right hand side of your watch so that if you wear your watch on your left hand, it won't dig into your arm. And I was like, this is the most bananas thing I've ever heard because never once in my life has the problem been that the crown was digging into my arm, but it is constantly because I try and conform to wearing my watch on my left hand, it is constantly digging into the back of my hand.
Right.
Because I bend my hand at my wrist a lot more than I bend my arm in a way that would cause it to. And it was just like, watches, despite their own design, seem to be intended to be worn on your right hand, which to me has also been just more comfortable in general.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, I am an adult and I can do this. I can wear it on my right hand and I still put it on my left hand. I don't know.
Interesting.
There's no wrong answer. I just don't understand where this came from and why the shame comes with it.
I think it's because it's like one of these things where it's like, there's such a small amount of information to know about it that it's almost like wearing like brown shoes with a black belt. It's like at the end of the day, like you could possibly get away with doing it, but like so many people know the very basic rule of don't do that.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's just way too easy for someone to chime in and be like, well, you see that? Brown shoes, black belt. What are they thinking?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's all it is. It's like, it becomes such a binary small situation to where it's like, that's unusual. It's not supposed to be like that. Like it's going against the grain somehow.
Right.
But it's really not. And it also affects nobody.
It's not, because it's perfectly acceptable for left-handed people to wear their watch on their right hand.
Right.
It's like,
so what I would be curious about though is to all those left-handed people out there, if there's any of you listening, do you wear your watch on the left hand? Like I almost wonder if it's just become that much more traditional. Like, to the point where you're right. Like it's a non-dominant hand thing, but is there any chance that some people have just like literally been like, well, I'm left-handed, but I still wear it on my left hand anyway because like it's such a signal to people. Like it feels like off.
Well, watches are another great category for left-handers to complain about because they're typically designed with right-handers in mind.
Right.
So I say that, although I would say they're actually benefiting because what people would classify as left-handed watches for right-handed people are actually designed to be more comfortably worn on your right hand based on where the crown is.
I follow
so
you.
Maybe they're just actually, despite the watch industry's efforts to make it more right-handed, make it easier to wear on your left hand, are actually helping out left-handed people because they're actually more comfortable to wear on your right hand.
Look at you go, Jay.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So I want to know if people have felt the shame for such a stupid thing before.
Or just anything. Is it like not even with this particular topic, but I mean, we've talked about flip-flops, V-necks, tank tops, all things that
watch
like
handedness
have taken time to like adjust and adapt to and decide like, I'm going to commit to this. Like I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny too, because I feel like with all of these things, it's like breaking a seal. It's like, actually, another one of these examples, and I know that we've talked about this before, was hair gel. It was like
we have talked about this before.
It was totally one of those where you were like, I really like, I don't want to be like that guy, you know? Like it feels like people who wear hair gel, like that's a thing, and it's just not.
It's just, right. Like especially, you build it up.
Exactly. You're much more aware of like what's going on inside of like the space inside your head.
Right.
But I mean, I've had this with so many things, like where I've had to justify something. When I grew out my beard for the first time, what I was going through was like, I went through a summer where I would go on vacation and it would be like, I'm not going to shave while I'm on vacation because like, you know,
part
like,
of the fun of vacation.
I'll get like that 5 o'clock shadow, see what's going on. And like what was really happening was like, I was really wanting to test growing out a beard.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, you know, like I would get to the end of the week and of course my beard's not so absurdly robust or anything that 1 week later you were looking at something that could qualify as like you were still in the awkward zone. What you really needed was like 2 to 3 weeks or better yet, a month. Which for me is exactly, it was like, okay, hey, you like that no shave November thing? Like, why don't we do that as like a hilarious joke? You know, like this would be so great. Like we'll grow it out. And then like literally I grew it out and I have not shaved my face since then.
Right.
And that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, well, I've trimmed my beard, obviously. I don't have like a, you know, mountain man beard. Although if you picture me like that and haven't seen what I actually physically look like, then please stick to that. I love that image.
Ooh, speaking of which, since people will be able to visually see us now, I wonder if that will like throw off people's perception of like how we are arranged whilst we record.
Oh, interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
Like how do they imagine we are speaking to each other, you know?
Right, like is it face to face?
Like is it across the table from each other? Am I on the left, the right? I don't know. Like if you're, I wonder.
It'll be very fascinating to see if it throws anybody off.
Not going to tell anyone how we're arranged.
Also, other question I want to throw out there, I feel like I just want to periodically ask this question to the audience is there a chance that you found this podcast and the clarification that the other job that we do is the Super Carlin Brothers YouTube channel? Yeah. Like, is that like a relevant detail? Because in my mind, I would be willing to bet that 98.5% of people listening are just, they know us from the Super Carlin Brothers YouTube channel.
Right, they've just like discovered us via that.
Right, but I'd like to think that there's like a decent chunk of people that are just here for just this.
Okay, so here's a question then, and maybe maybe we should find like a way to discuss this on the Reddit. Are there people listening who don't know what we look like?
Ooh.
You know? Because that's how I find myself with a lot of podcasters.
Yes.
And it is so weird to me that when I would like listen to a show forever and then I will like, and I'll have no idea what the people look like. And then like one day I'll finally be like, oh yeah, maybe I'm like researching the podcast, maybe not even trying to find out what they look like, but their images will pop up and I'll be like, so different. Could not have been more wrong.
Did not picture. See the interesting thing about that is that one of the very first podcasts I ever listened to was Hello Internet with CGP Grey and Brady Heron.
Yeah.
And Brady has like a picture that's like out there. I think he hosts some shows on YouTube.
Oh, he's got like 28 channels or something.
Yeah. So like it's easy to know what he looks like. CGP Grey, on the other hand, though, is like there, like, at least, I don't even, this may have changed since then, but I feel like there's like sort of famously this characteristic about him that like people don't know what he looks like.
Yeah, this is extremely intentional on his part to like hide his face from the internet. And, you know, I mean, if you try hard enough, you can find it.
You can see what he looks like.
But like he is intentionally trying to keep his face off the internet.
Okay. Because I remember we were at VidCon one year, like big conference for this type of stuff. And I remember you like nudging me and being like, that's gray. And I was like, and he was, I think, crossing like the street away from us or something. Yeah. And I remember like looking over into just like this group of like 7 people. And I was just like, I could be any of them.
Right.
Like I literally like, it's like you were like pointing like at one of 7 people who was gray. Yeah. And it was like, no idea. I'm befuddled.
That's probably the joy he has about conferences, where he can simply walk around completely anonymous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is, I guess, totally the point. Well, I'm sure there are many points.
Which
is a very low importance one. But yeah, I do remember it. I'm not sure what it. I guess I think I had found like photos of him at some point, but maybe they're gone, maybe they're not. But I remember being like, whoa. It's weird because it's like someone who's like face you've like barely ever seen. To say that like Hello Internet and like one of his other podcasts, Cortex, had not like had huge impacts on my life would have been so wrong. And it's like, that's that person.
Right.
Oh my God.
How about that?
Whoa.
I know. I remember the very first episode. I've always this is like one of those things that like literally stuck with me forever though. It's like almost something where I even wanted to do the exact same episode on Popcorn Culture just because I love the conversation so much. But I think like one of the very first episodes of their show that they talk about like if you are a battery with like 100 watts, then you have like 4 light bulbs, which is like your health, your family, let's see here, health, family and friends, work, and significant other.
Okay.
And like I think the idea is that at any given point in time, you are only a 100 watt battery.
Right.
Meaning there's like the implied balance is almost like if you were to go 100%, 100 watts into work, then it would stand to reason that your work life would be spectacular and flourishing and doing really well. But like the other implications would be that chances are you're not maybe physically taking care of yourself.
Right.
You're not communicating with your family and maybe have either a lacking or non-existent like romantic relationship at all.
Yeah.
But then it's also the case that like if you just put 25 into everything, you're still using all 100 watts.
Yeah.
But like all of them would still be maybe
not so bright.
Yeah. You know, like they're all only like a quarter lit.
Right.
And so it's like a really just interesting conversation. And I found that it's actually helped me frame the way that I balance a lot of the ways that like I approach life. Like you've probably heard me talk before about like why like going mountain biking to me has its appeal, where it's like I'm able to fill both like friends and like health/fitness at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, obviously when it comes down to it, the analogy breaks down at some point in time because people absolutely have positive relationships with their friends, family, significant other, take care of themselves and are doing fine at work. Like, but it's really interesting to me, I think, to like start to figure like, okay, like these are all the key categories of life that do need energy put into them in order to have like the type of desired result that you may want from them. And also the balance that would come with putting more energy into any of those. Yeah. Although frequently I think I take it like too literally. Right. And I'm like, wow. Like I know right now, like I'm doing like lots of work stuff, and it's like that means my friends, they're suffering, like
they are thinking about it and noticing it.
And
they are mad at me.
And they're mad at me. Yeah. That's like if there's like a party that you've been invited to and you're like, we're not going to be able to make it, or like I had this other commitment, or like I'm not feeling well, or look, quite literally, I don't want to go. Right. Like it's always in my mind, like they're going to be like really upset that I'm not there. Right. Like they're going to be walking around this party with 50 other people, and you know what they're going to be thinking? Ben's not here.
Wow. Snubbed us, did he?
What's up with that?
Wow. Friendship over. Yeah. In actuality, there are 50 other people there, and your absence is not noticed.
Hey, that's also kind of sad.
It's also kind of sad, but this is like maybe not noticed is like the like a harsh way. Yeah. Like it's not. And maybe to say like, you're not missed. Maybe that's not the right way to say it either. But like, it's no big deal.
It's okay.
You know?
It's okay.
The success of the party is not dependent upon your presence.
Unless you were bringing the cupcakes.
Unless it's like a 6-person game night party, and now we can't play Catan because Ben Niles didn't show up.
Right, exactly. Right. So this has actually been, I feel like there's been this big, thing for like forever with me where I've always thought like hosting a party or an occasion, it was like, you need like maximum people there. And like that is the sign of like a good party. You know, it's like having like so many people there.
Right.
And I feel like the thing that like, because I normally not during the current times, but outside of quarantine and COVID and all that, I typically would throw several parties a year for like different occasions. And the thing that I was slowly starting to learn by throwing those parties was just how small of a touch you might have with each person in attendance at that party when you are the host.
Yeah.
So like, it may be the case that like if you were attending one of those parties, you would seek out our good friend Mike and spend an hour, chatting in the corner with him.
Yeah.
But when you're the host of the party, you're mostly just like bouncing around as people are arriving or leaving and being like, thanks for coming. Thanks, I'm so glad you're here. So glad you were able to stop by. And you have like all these like little touches, and almost none of them end up being like meaningful in any way, shape, or form. Right. They're all like,
well, almost, that's not, the social gain is not from the conversations you have at the party you're hosting. It's from the conversations people have about the party you have hosted.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. So
maybe
then everyone's like, Ben throws great parties.
Is that what people say?
Well, yeah, I think so.
It's like
I would say that. I liked your parties, except for that one time when that guy shoved that watermelon off the table right when me and Ross are about to blow it up with rubber bands. I'm getting mad just thinking about it.
The good news about that story, though, is that I feel like anybody who hears that portion of it's like, it still sounds like a cool party to be at.
Yeah. I feel like just because that was a weird sentence, I need to explain the situation.
I think you should. Yeah,
it was a 4th of July party.
It sure was.
The day was July 4th.
Actually, it was the 3rd of the 4th party.
Oh,
I specifically remember it being
because
I think it was like a Saturday and the 4th was on like a Sunday or something.
So as such, Ben had arranged some American themed games with watermelons.
Yep.
As you do. And once upon a time on the Super Carlin Brothers channel, we had a video where we bought like 500 rubber bands and a watermelon.
We did,
and we just kept. And it was like a time lapse of us putting the rubber bands around the middle of the watermelon until the pressure grew so great that it like blows up the watermelon.
It's like the rubber bands like literally like cut it in half in such an like visceral way that like it blows up.
Yeah. And it's awesome.
It is awesome.
It's so cool. It's such a fun thing to watch. And there's like really great slow-mo videos of people doing this on the internet. You can go look those up. So anyway, Ben had arranged for a game where people would race to achieve this.
Yes.
So you had 2 bowls sitting on a table, and the bowls would hold the watermelons. So you could put, one end in the bowl and the other side sticking out.
Yep.
So that you wouldn't be falling over. And then you'd have teams of 2 putting rubber bands around the watermelon as fast as possible, their watermelon, until, the first person to blow their watermelon up won. So anyway. It's the kind of thing that draws a crowd.
It sure does.
Because people are like, man, I've never even heard of this. Sounds amazing. Blow up watermelons with rubber bands.
What a great thing to see.
And it's like every rubber band could be the one.
It could
be the one. So me and my buddy Ross are one team. Team Awesome, and we're playing against Team Losers.
Okay.
And yeah.
It's so funny that they chose that name.
It was an apt name because that's what they were. Anyway, me and Ross devised a strategy early on to put on several rubber bands at once, a great teamwork strategy to pull all of them apart. We are crushing our opponents. It's obvious we're going to win. So obvious that at the like near penultimate rubber band, our opponent just looks over, realizes their inevitable loss, shoves the whole bowl off the table. It smashes into the ground. The watermelon explodes. Obviously, because it was under high pressure, and now we just added a big
fall to the ground,
to the ground upon it. No one got to see it explode in a satisfying way.
Yeah, then it was sort of like,
wow, that was terrible.
Right, like you had 25 people all crowded around this crowd, like central spectacle, and
Cheers.
it was so cool, it was so fun, and then it was kind of like, well, guys, like the really cool part, like the whole reason you do all of this just got like zapped,
right?
Zip zap zorped.
Wow, zip zap zorped.
Yeah,
so mad,
I know.
mad.
Did you know that for that particular evening, I made custom tank tops as party favors?
Yeah, I do remember that. I still have mine.
Nice.
It said hashtag America on it.
America.
Yeah. Hilarious.
So much fun. another example of how I used to be deathly afraid to like wear a tank top, and then eventually leaned in so hard that I made them as party favors. For attending. Yeah.
So to the cool, you know what? I gave them out. So if you're wearing them, you're just part of the party.
It's part of the
party.
In fact,
if you're not wearing a tank top, you're not part of you're just part of pooper.
Team loser.
Exactly. Join Team Loser watermelons over there.
Right.
Anyway.
They did not get tank tops.
Anyway, I'm still mad at that guy. So
that's understandable.
I don't even know who he is.
That was, oh my God. It was so funny too, because it was like a friend of a friend of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alice was friends with a girl she used to do like pageants with. And I'm pretty sure she was attending the party, and it was like her husband's friend who was like in town. And
that day.
Right.
How did he even get on the main stage?
I know.
Here I am, your brother.
Right.
Brother of the host.
Right.
Like, obviously I'm up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this spectacle event. Meanwhile, this jabloni.
Well, good use of the word.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it was fine. Everything worked out, but yeah.
I wonder how people are picturing your parties now, like as if there's a big stage. Like, all right, people, gather round.
Right. This is why we need a castle.
Yeah, exactly. Castle Con. Oh, when events are back, I cannot wait for Castle Con. One day.
Yeah. There's gonna be so much straw and hay all over the floors.
Hay, horses. Obviously.
We'll have the watermelon games.
Dude, okay, this is exactly why CastleCon would be fun, because there's so many things we can do. Obviously, we're gonna have the watermelon game.
It goes without saying.
Obviously, in fact, I'm having ideas about it right now. Maybe there could be watermelon races. Maybe it could be like everyone who comes here gets to like, if you can like for $1, you can like buy 5 rubber bands and put them on, and if you happen to be the one, you like maybe it's like a 50-50. Maybe you like win half the pot and the other half goes to charity or something.
Loving it.
Yeah. All right. This is just off the top of my head.
I know this is good riffing.
Yeah.
Excellent riffing.
Melon popping. That's what we can call it.
Right.
Popping, like the show.
Ayo. I get it. Yeah.
Right.
This is really good ideas. This is really good ideas.
Okay. Great.
Can horses eat watermelons?
I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll have to find some type of castle related animal that can, so that we have no waste as well.
Right.
And then we can also do something with the rubber bands, probably. Maybe we'll just have like office supplies. Free office supplies.
Yeah. Take rubber band. They're covered in, you have to clean them.
Yeah.
They are covered in watermelon goop.
It
is for sure. Yeah.
The goopiest.
Be careful about that.
Yeah. Got to be super cautious. No, I feel like it's going to be such good times.
Whenever we can get to CastleCon.
Right. Is there any chance that we could have giant catapults to shoot cantaloupes?
Oh, for sure.
The Cantaloupe Catapults.
Let me tell you, because the castle we have in mind is situated in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
As it were. And it's awesome. And last I was in Lexington, we went to a like apple orchard, pumpkin patch sort of thing.
Okay.
One of the features at this farm is that you can just like buy a bushel of apples and go shoot them out of their apple cannon.
What?
Oh yeah. So not only do I think it's possible, but I think such fruit cannons would be within a driving distance.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Easily obtained and or rented for the merriment of the little colonels.
Oh my gosh, fruit cannons. People are going to show up and be like, there's a really big fruit theme.
You know what? Yeah.
What's up with that?
You know why I like the idea of it being in Kentucky?
Why's that?
Too? Because very early on in the pop, we had, beef with big chicken.
We sure did.
Kentucky fried chicken.
Right.
So we had the little colonels descend and,
So we're like setting up a home base.
Exactly.
Inside of enemy territory.
Exactly. Take that, Kentucky fried chicken. We're hosting a podcast convention in Kentucky.
Kentuckians right now are like, why are we the enemy?
No, they're not. No.
It is just KFC. Why was it originally, it was the reason that they were using the hashtag little kernels.
They had the hashtag popcorn culture.
Oh, because they were making
popcorn
chicken.
And
I see.
Yeah, trying to coin popcorn culture.
I think we stole it backhandedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we had beef with Big Chicken and Big Colonel.
And Big Colonel.
It all worked out very appropriately.
Okay, so before we wrap up today's episode,
Sure,
we have to hit on 2 key segments.
Okay.
Corny joke?
What a wait. Yeah, let's start.
Let's start. We'll
The
start the
episode
episode.
is about to begin.
All right, guys, let's kick this off. Jay,
Okay.
what did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet?
Broom goes the dynamite. I don't know.
That would have been pretty good. That would have been pretty good. Can I just stick with that? Can that just be the new answer? Broom goes the dynamite.
Okay, what's the actual answer?
Supplies.
Oh, no, that's not as good. I don't think that's as good.
I thought it was pretty funny though,
Yeah.
and I even put it in italics in my notes here, which I feel like just adds to the humor somehow.
Supplies!
Oh man, classic janitor.
Classic, just sitting there waiting for someone to jump. Surprise with his amazing pun.
It's.
Get it? Don't you get it?
Do you imagine them like holding like buckets of supplies? Like,
Oh yeah, they've got like a 10-gallon bucket in each hand, filled with just all the janitorial supplies you could need.
oh, anything.
Sponges, rags, cleaning solvents.
Speaking of, I have recently done this thing at my home where I got really into like laundry cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Because it was a big TikTok trend that I had to try where you like strip your like towels or like large blankets or something like that. So it may be stuff that wouldn't fit as easily into like a washer and dryer, or even I think it's just supposed to be like a deep cleaning process.
Yeah.
But I like super nerded out over like all these detergents and stuff. And so like basically what you do is you fill up your bathtub with like hot water, you add like borax, like baking. It's like baking soda, but it's not baking soda. It's like some type of like cleaning soda.
Yeah.
And then like detergent, like you would normally like Tide, something like that. And so you put this like cocktail of chemicals in there, and then you throw all of your stuff in, and you just like let it sit for like 6 hours. And it is like the most satisfying, disgusting thing ever.
Just like strips out all the stuff from them.
It's just like, it's like, towels that I literally just put through the wash.
Yeah.
So like, as far as I'm concerned, like they
Are
clean.
clean.
Yeah. And you go and throw them in this bathtub. 6 hours later, you pull it out and like the water is like dark black.
Right.
It's like, ew.
What
ew,
happened?
but awesome and ew at the same time.
So what do you do after that? Then you have to wash them again? Because surely they've been soaking in the garbage as well.
Their own brine.
Filth. Yeah.
Yeah. So then what I do, I put them through like a rinse cycle, and then I dry them, and they come out fluffy.
Yeah.
Real fluffy.
I would be curious to know what happens if you put fresh towels from the store.
I would
into the
also be
cocktail.
curious. I feel like you would maybe get like some dye strippage, but I do feel like I feel like something's coming out of them. There's a huge part of me that's like afraid to look into it because I'm like so sure that there's information out there that's like, when you're stripping your towels, it's actually doing nothing. Like this TikTok phenomenon is just full of pahooey.
Right, yeah. It's
like
well, there are oils in your towels, but they're actually not dangerous, and they're
Exactly,
they are
right.
technically clean. So
all it's really doing is delaminating the tessel fibers.
yeah, yes,
Yeah, like some type of techno babble related to laundry.
right. You're like, okay, well,
The point is, I had a jolly good time doing it. So if it was no good, that's fine because I was still entertained for an entire day.
exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, and I assume then you also have a fun fact about coyotes.
I do. I do.
All right.
And really, it was like every week it's interesting because I'm like, what's a different way that I could like look at coyotes this week?
Yeah.
Like there's like the animals themselves, but there's also like the symbol.
The symbol,
And so-
that is the coyote.
That is the coyote. So I have anxiety dreams all the time. I have all of them, like teeth falling out, forgetting to go to a class, like just anything you can think of.
You're anxious.
I'm anxious. I'm an anxious guy. What can I say?
Yeah.
So I was looking up what coyotes in dreams might symbolize.
Okay.
Would you like to know?
Oh, yeah.
The coyote symbolism in dreams might also be of a thief, trickster, or a dangerous situation awaiting you. which is kind of like
that's
negative.
like premonition.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, ooh, okay.
Be on the lookout. I'm about to meet a trickster.
A trickster. But it says, even so, the dream about coyotes doesn't have to be all negative. The animal could be a symbol of the balance and wisdom needed in life. Otherwise, consider it a creative, sacred power. Coyote magic.
Oh,
And
coyote magic.
As soon as I saw coyote magic, I was like, well, this is today's fun fact.
This is today's fun fact. That is the least like helpful dream interpretation ever. It's like either you're about to be hoodwinked or extreme wisdom. Like, whoa, that's not okay.
It could be both, depending on maybe by being hoodwinked, you gain wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. Now like, you know not to be hoodwinked.
Right. This feels like classic like dream interpretation. It's like it could mean something bad's gonna happen, or something good's gonna happen. Yeah, like, so it could really be either. And chances are it has no bearing on anything.
Okay, so can I have my money back or
no?
No, that'll be $50.
Yeah, every single one of you who just listened, if you just had coyotes in your dream, you actually owe me for that dream reading.
For that dream reading, yeah.
You're welcome.
Exactly,
guys. Otherwise, I just want to give a huge thank you to just everyone for tuning in to the pop, and we want to give a special thank you to these patrons who support us over on Patreon. That would be Kelly, James Zucker, J. Cody Charan, Kayla, Miriam, Rebecca Posey, Michael Hawks, Dom Stace, Robin Asbury, Eleanor Ruse, and Corbin Moldenhauer.
Oh, I
love that last name.
Moldenhauer.
Such a good one.
Yeah.
Such a good one. Yeah. If you guys would like to support us on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/popcornculture. We have lots of bonus content that comes out every single week, including after the final pop. It's like an extra 20 minutes of Jay and I just talking about something else.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really interesting stuff like pineapples.
Yeah, like pineapples. Man, we didn't talk about pineapples today, and we were gonna, but we didn't. Next time, we'll have to talk about pineapples.
There we go. But otherwise, until next time,
pop, pop.